and get started. These recordings are put up on the website in about a week, and of course all of you will get post-session notes. If for some reason you're on this call because someone suggested you call, the best way to get on our PLC list is go to msenyu@gmail.com. So that would be MS, that's S like Sam, MSENEW@gmail.com, and that'll get you on it. Or if you find someone that's just, you could send an email to eicc.edu and just say you want to be put on the PLC list. We will make sure you get post-session notes and announcements of anything that's going on, and keep you up on that. Well, today we're going to talk about a variety of topics. In this tranche of PLCs, we're combining several things. One, what's happening in Washington, and there's a lot going on in terms of funding and legislation. So we're going to talk about that a little later. That news, we also want to talk to our grantees. We like to interview this time of the year our grantees because everyone's got a different story and they're in different phases of their grant. And we like to hear what they're doing and find out, perhaps they've got some ideas we haven't thought about, and find out some of the issues they're having, because we're probably having similar issues. And so we like to talk to them and see what they're doing. Today, we're going to have the workplace. Diane Napier we'll introduce in a little bit. We'll talk about their program. After that, actually, we're going to talk a little bit about Puerto Rico, Pastone, and what's happening down there, and get a progress report. And then we want to talk a little bit about the legislation that's coming down the pike. There's 3 acts, big legislative acts, and they just have a different impact on brownfield job training. And you're going to probably hear about these things. They'll be, you'll hear about it. Just want you to know what they are and what it means to your program and what it might mean in the future. So we'll get started with that. I don't see Nolan on the call, so let me get started though with the introduction. So we're just going to go around and introduce everyone. We're able to do that because we can. We don't have that many people, and I always like to put faces and names. And so Nori, do you want to start off and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Nuri Gutierrez. I work at the City College of New York with the Infrastructure Workforce Initiative. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you. And I'm Mike Senyu, HMTRI, facilitating the program. Salome?
Hi, everyone. My name is Salome. I work with Nuri at the City College, City University of New York on the Wrangell Infrastructure Workforce Initiative. Nice to meet you.
Now, City College is huge. I mean, this is like a multi-campus, what they do is they combine everything, don't they, into the City College. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there's CUNY, City University of New York, and there are different campuses underneath that, and City College is one of them. So I think there are like 12 different colleges under that umbrella.
It's huge and very well respected. I mean, it's very well. And they have a grant this year, and we'll at some point probably be hearing from you how it's going. Abby, good to see you. Could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Abby. I'm the director of the Employment Institute at Auberly. We're located in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, which is just outside of Pittsburgh. And we are a 3-time job training brownfields grantee.
They are one of our stars, actually. Kimberly.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Kelly. I'm with the Sustainable Workplace Alliance. We're a not-for-profit group that does job training through the National Institute of Health, and looking to possibly start with the BJT program also.
Great, and many do. Sometimes it goes in both directions. Sometimes they start with a BJT program, and then they get involved with an NIHS program, and so it works both ways. We're sister programs. They're there are a lot of similarities, but there are some differences. They're focused more on health and safety. There's some advantages of their programs. There's some disadvantages. There's our bigger grants, longer term. Ours are annual and in some respects easier to get. If you don't get it one year, you might pick it up the next year. So we work very closely with NIHS and we share resources, and Sharon has been great to work with. Diana.
Hi, everyone. I'm Diana Napier with the Workplace in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Diana is going to give our presentation today on what they're doing. Deb. Deb.
Yep. Hi, everybody. I'm Deb, and I work at Mass Hire Central Region Workforce Board, and that's located in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I am taking over this grant for the next cycle.
Oh, great. That's good to know. Mass Hire has been an excellent job training grantee, and kind of that combination, something like the workplace, a combination WIB, all-purpose job center that brought this into their program to provide additional services. That's great.
Yep.
Angela. Oops, you got to turn your audio on. Well, we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. Work on that a little bit. Phyllis.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Phyllis Gross. Work for the Full Employment Council in Kansas City. I'm a senior coordinator for them in the planning department.
Great. And Bruce. Good to see you again.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bruce Mendelson. I am the Resource Development Coordinator for the Mass Hire Central Region Workforce Board. Applied for and won this grant, I guess it was about 2 years ago. And my boss said, oh, well, the good news is you won the grant, and the bad news is we don't have anybody to run the grant. So guess what? You're going to run the grant. So we started the whole thing up, and now Deb is handing it over to Deb for the next year. But that is with some regret, because it's been a great group of people, and I intend to stay involved to some extent.
Well, actually, I'm glad you said that, because we're thinking of having Mass Hire on one of these sessions, and maybe we could have both of you sit in and give us a rundown. Mass Hire is a fantastic organization, and I'll be hitting you up to ask if you could be a presenter after the refresher.
I'm only going to do that. I'm only going to do that if I can borrow Paul's hard hat.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that. Now, you know, Paul, the way we bribe people is we have this pen, and I haven't sent out. This is an official HMTRI pen, and when you do special things like this, you get one of these pens. So keep that in mind. Just want to let you know, just in case. But I have a hard time competing with Paul, though. He's got a fantastic building. How do you compete with that?
Well, all I know is that thank you for reminding me my helmet was on, so didn't go the whole meeting.
Let's go to Paul. Is it Diallo? How did I pronounce? I butcher names. I'm sorry.
No, you did very well. Thank you. Hi, my name is Paul DiZallo. I'm from the Northwest Regional Workforce Investment Board in Waterbury, Connecticut. Currently I'm the manager of a new grant called Career Connects. In Connecticut, we have 5 workforce development boards, and all 5 workforce development boards are participating in this 3-year Career Connect grant.
Wow. Wow.
And our focus is on green careers. We also have in there manufacturing, IT, healthcare, and CDL licensing.
Wow. See, there's so many things going on trying to sort out all this stuff on EJ and workforce development. That's good to hear. Good to hear.
Thank you.
Well, Pamela, how are you today?
Hi, Mike. Hi, everyone. My name is Pam Carunchio, and I'm development strategist for the Energy Coordinating Agency in Philadelphia. And we're in the midst of a grant to train 100 people over the 3-year period for a sort of variety of a package of trainings. Has WAPA 10, mold and moisture, EPA led RRP, and BPI's air leakage controller installer position. So people, when they graduate, will get a great book of national credentials.
Fantastic. ECA, we're all envious of ECA because a while back they got the Kellogg Foundation gave them what, $5 million to say, oh, could you build a training center? And they said,
Yeah.
of course we can.
Not quite 5 million.
Oh,
but
okay, enough.
almost 2 million.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, so we were able, we're based in a warehouse that was built in about 1850 in North Philadelphia. So we were able to bring the training center to LEED Gold. So we have this wonderful drywall insulation board that's like about that thick, and elastomeric coating on the roof, solar, a huge rainwater collection tank. So we wash vehicles and flush toilets with non-potable water. So the trainees are able to see the technologies in action that we're talking about. And it's big, it's 58,000 square feet. So we're able to do big construction modules and hands-on, real hands-on, and people really, really appreciate that.
Well, ECA is one of those organizations that this is a small grant, but it could lead to big things, and it could add on to big things. So April, all the way from Alaska, how are you today?
Not that long ago. Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on the globe. I'm April McCoy with Center Environmental Health and Research Group here in Alaska, Anchorage based. And I work with the Rural Alaska Community Environmental Job Training Program.
Fantastic program. It's too bad you weren't on last week because we talked about you. But in nice terms.
Awesome.
I'm going to skip Nolan for now. Let me go to Paul. Hey, Paul. Are you going to tell us about your fantastic training facility now that's even better than ECA's?
Well, I don't know if it's better, but we're really happy. We broke ground last year. However, with the wonderful rainy, snowy weather we had, it got delayed for several months. And so we had bought some additional rock to help pour some concrete, but then it continued to rain some more. So we had to wait to dry up. And now we have the concrete walls up. We have well over 100,000 square feet. If you include the office areas, we're going to probably be on 2 stories pushing 125,000 square feet. So they have the roof on, getting ready to pour the floor, concrete floor at the end of this month, first part of October. We see our elevator shaft going in. So we're very excited. We're using some of our labor out there to sort and separate any recyclable items that we could do on the work site to keep it maintained and clean, environmentally sound. And so we're really excited about that. We're hoping if everything continues to go well, that we'll be moving in the March, April timeframe, and we'll be able to help twice as many people. So twice as many people may be in that 600 to 800 plus range a year. depending on how everything rolls out. So we're very excited about that. We've been building our infrastructure, our staffing and team. So as we transition into it, we can hit the ground running. And we've been getting additional equipment. So we're on our third truck. We may get a fourth truck to pick up product from our customers and really beefing up our training areas from that. And hopefully over the next couple of months, Ken and I will be able to share with you some potential new training techniques that we'll be utilizing, hopefully in not too distant future, using some technology that we are currently trying to get in place here. So we're really excited about everything that's going on.
For those of you who are new, Paul and Recycle Force is a social enterprise combined with a job training program, and it's unique in they're based recycling based. Anything with a plug is fair game, and they're able to provide employment. They're 100%, almost 100% ex-offenders, returning citizens, run and managed by returning citizens. It's a fantastic program. Again, showing you what you can do with a little grant like this and add it to a huge grant and get exposure. So we'll be talking to you in the future.
Yeah, thank you.
Jake, how are you?
Hey, Mike, doing well. Jake Markowski from the Arborlee Employment Institute in Region 3, McKeesport, PA.
Okay. Yvette from Kansas City.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yvette Solis. I'm from Incentro. It's a nonprofit organization in Kansas City, Kansas. I'm currently the new director of our Department of Economic Empowerment, where we have quarterly our classes here. We call them Go Green to Get Green, where we have certifications where a lot of it is in environmental cleanup. And we're going to be having our next cohort coming up in November, and we're very excited with.
Fantastic.
Hopefully we'll get a good number.
That's what we're going to be talking about at the refresher, about setting up those cohorts. Russell from Philadelphia.
Yes, Philadelphia. I'm not calling from Starbucks. I'm actually at the dentist office here in Philadelphia, representing ECA along with Pamela, Energy Coordinating Agency. So I do recruitment and placement. I'm a recruitment and placement specialist. On the recruitment side, I bring them in, the 100 students Pam talked about before, the next 3 years. That's me. Currently recruiting for gas technician training, partnership with the electric company out here, PICO. And on the placement side, we have a career fair on November 16th here. Have about 15 to 20 employers in different green fields. And October 14th is our annual Energized Conference on Workforce. And next Friday, October 7th, we have a graduation. We're graduating 10 students out of our IPM program and GRR program, Green Renovation and Retrofit.
Fantastic. If any of you have a schedule of events, just return the notes with that schedule and make sure we get them in the PLC notes to share with everyone. Jason, are you there?
Hello, yes, I am. Hi, everyone. I am working with Nuri and Salome here at the Wrangell Center at City College. We are here to fulfill Charlie Wrangell, the great Charlie Wrangell, a congressman from our district for a long time, here to fulfill his mission to get young adults from our neighborhood into infrastructure careers. Thank you.
Marie.
I'm Marie Conrad from Hartsville, South Carolina.
Welcome.
I am listening right now. The old Butler High School, which was the African-American high school that was closed in 1982. We have a grant to remove asbestos from the structure.
Oh.
And when Kenzie Delane went to a conference with the APA, he came across your organization. They're removing asbestos from a section of classrooms. There's about 12 of them with a couple of large areas. And after we get it cleaned up, the next question is, what do we do with the space?
Right. Well, I have about 30 people here that would be interested in having you turn that into a job training for environmental technicians. So hang in there, hang in there. Gerald Wilson.
Yes, I'm with Butler Heritage Foundation in Hartsville and on the board, and actually sitting in for Kenzie, who's out sick right now, but been following along.
Okay. Mr. Donnelly, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Mr. Patrick Donnelly from the Northwest Regional Workforce Investment Board. We've been a past recipient of some EPA brownfields training grants, and we just applied for the most recent round, so we're hoping to get that.
Great, great. As the time gets closer, we'll be talking about that. Amy, how are you today?
I am good, thank you. My name is Amy Penny and I'm with the Alaska Forum, and we do a bunch of different things, but one of them is environmental training in rural Alaska through a couple of different training grants that we have. And we also have an environmental technician apprenticeship program that we are working with. And so we are grateful to continue to get grant funding to support those programs.
Those Alaska programs are fantastic. I mean, they're working with African American, where they're working with the whole group, tribes, various languages, large distances, rural. They have all of the challenges plus weather that many of us don't have to work through, but good job up there. Rob Jones.
Hello, Rob Jones, Groundwork RVA, Richmond, Virginia. Shout out to my city college colleagues. I am a proud graduate of the psych program up there, one of the best in the country. And we are doing green infrastructure down here in Richmond and are looking to get our first environmental training grant, brownfields, to do that work here. Have some other sister organizations within the network who have benefited from the grant in the past, and we're feeling like it's about time we've got opportunities and employers and all the things. So figure out how to get it done.
Yeah, and they're evaluating the grants as we speak. It'll probably be the first quarter. There's got a lot of gung-ho people up there. Channing's working hard with his team to evaluate. If you haven't heard from EPA now, you're on the final reviews. We hear there's about 60 applicants for, we don't know, there's about 25 awards, but there might be more. Funding is going crazy, which we'll talk about later. So we don't know, but we'll know first part of the first quarter of the year, maybe February. So good luck on that. I want to introduce Nolan, but I want to see if Angela first has her audio on, because there are someone who is very important to us right now. Angela.
Well, can you hear me?
Well, you can.
All right. I had to change phones. Well, you know, Puerto Rico has been doing environmental workforce training since 2015 with EPA, and prior to that with DOL. So we're happy to be doing all of the activity, and we too are waiting to hear what comes from the evaluation, as are most of the folks on this call, I think. The current status in Puerto Rico is not as glowing as our performance on our grant, however. Unlike Hurricane Maria, the real problem here wasn't so much wind, it was mud and water, flooding and mudslides. Roads have been totally closed because of mudslides and flooding. Most of our staff cannot yet get to their office space. They are, however, busy in the community doing emergency assessments and trying to figure out what needs can be met and contacting different government agencies, both Puerto Rico and federal. We're pretty busy trying to get some relief because it's bad. Most of the island is without water service. Most of the island has sketchy, if any, electricity, and phones are definitely intermittent. So although it's no longer on the front page of anybody's news headlines, we're far from out of the crisis with this last hit. And given that many people were still living under blue tarps from the last hurricanes in 2017, there was a lot of damage because blue tarp doesn't do much in a hurricane. So we're hopeful that this current administration will be more amenable to assisting the hurricane victims in Puerto Rico than the prior one. And that's really what we're all focused on right now, is any kind of aid that we can get, as well as coordinating donations that we get and getting them to the right people. So that's really what we're all about right now. And they all say hello to all of you.
Well, we're praying and rooting for you. And Nolan's going to talk about that in a little bit, but we're with you, and best wishes, certainly, Angela. With that, I'm going to, oh, go ahead.
We have training scheduled in 3 weeks, and the staff is adamant that they're going to be doing training in 3 weeks. So if I know the staff, they will do it.
Good for you. Good for you. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Nolan. Is there anyone that I missed that would like to introduce themselves? I know this takes some time, but I think it's important to learn about some of the other grantees and what they're doing, because we are a very diverse group. We've got workforce investment boards, we've got standalone job training programs, we've got social enterprises, and it's just a good idea to know what everyone's doing. And they're all different. And the neat thing about this program is it's all okay. They all work. They just under different venues and different types of organizations. So I apologize, it takes a little more time, but I think it might be worthwhile because we can do it. I'm going to turn it over to Nolan, who's going to give us a rundown of what's happening and news from Washington. Nolan, are you, now he's at Starbucks. We got a real Starbucks crowd. We could maybe have a meeting from Starbucks. Are you at Starbucks now too?
Actually, no, I'm in my car, and
okay.
I'm leading and bleeding off of Verizon. So a shout out to Verizon in Athens, Georgia, because evidently no one has Wi-Fi when I go up and down this highway for a while. So I apologize for that, but good to be here, and certainly good to hear from you, Angela. We'll get to that in a moment. But for national news, mark your calendars. So the Brownfields 2023 National Conference is scheduled for August 8th through the 11th in 2023 in Detroit, Michigan. And so this was announced at the recently concluded National Brownfields Conference in Oklahoma. And that conference attracted more than 2,100 registrants and featured about 130 educational sessions. And that conference was a partnership between ICMA and the US EPA. And it's one of ICMA's longest running grant funded programs. And so to make up for the cancellation of last year's conference because of COVID, they're going to hold another conference this year, and then they'll probably go back to their every other year schedule. But again, mark your calendars, and they'll return to the previous 18 to 24 month schedule after that. There's been a dramatic expansion of environmental justice programs and the creation of a new Office of Environmental Justice and External Civil Rights. And so later today in the PLC, Mike's going to review these changes occurring in the EPA regarding the organization and funding of environmental justice initiatives. And so some of these, even though they may not be a direct impact to your programs, they're sort of one-offs, and it puts a lot of money into the system that may relate to things you're doing. The mid-year professional development refresher is October 12th. So we've been going back and forth between our attempt to revive the face-to-face conferences. And so again, for a number of reasons, timing of the Brownfields conference, people's budgets and all of that, it's going to be a virtual conference, and that will be October 12th. So if you haven't responded to the RSVP, we'll be sending out more invites, but let us know if you plan to attend that. Slots are filling up fast, and I'm not sure if Mike was going to get a free car for the first 100 applicants or not, but we'll probably have to put that aside. But anyway, it's October 12th. It's from 12 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. It will be Zoom, and we are asking you to register. And the refresher for the BJT grant recipients and stakeholders interested. So if you don't have a grant, but you're interested in getting one or trying out for that, it's a very good one-day virtual event, and it'll include informal brainstorming and networking sessions. And we've been going over the agenda with EPA, and a good time is guaranteed. And so we're asking you to participate, and in the notes, we'll post a Zoom site for you to, or a site for you to register on for the conference, and the Zoom site for that. Sorry, I feel like a news reporter. There should be like a helicopter breaking news, Chiron or something. So sorry about that. The 2023 in-person annual grantee meeting. So this is our meeting that we hold for all grantees. We've tentatively scheduled May 15th to the 19th in 2023 in Alexandria, Virginia. So again, highlight that on your calendars. The annual all grantee meeting provides an in-person platform, and we continue these conversations that we're having on critical issues and best practices among successful and sometimes even less than successful BJT programs. And it's a 2-day workshop. It's facilitated by HMTRI with participation from all of you, from EPA staff and outside experts. And as in the past, the meeting will include complimentary registration and housing. So again, there's no fee to register, and we will pay for your housing. However, the travel, the meals, incidentals, and other costs are not included. So again, there's sometimes confusion over that. So again, we pay for the hotel, but if you actually want to eat over the 2 days or 3 days, then you got to bring your wallet, as well as buy your own train ticket. The annual all grantee meeting is open to grant recipients, organizations interested in establishing local environmental job trainings, and we'll give you more information on this as we get closer to that. But again, mark it off on your calendars. That's May 15th to 19th in Alexandria, Virginia. Then there's the Greatest Institute. That's May 15th in Bettendorf, Iowa. So again, that's the same time. And even though it's a conflict, it's the OSHA Health and Safety Instructor Training. So we know that a few of you might be interested in that. And so if you end up going to the Greatest Institute, if you send someone else from your organization to the annual grantee meeting, all will be forgiven and you will be praised. The Community College Consortium for Health and Safety Training, or CCC-HST, instructors are prepared through a 10-day Train the Trainer program. This is called the Greatest Institute, Great Environmental Safety Training Institute, to deliver required certifications for public and private responders and workers, including 40-hour waste site worker health and safety, 24-hour industrial emergency response, DOT hazmat awareness, confined space, non-entry rescue, hazard awareness and communication, disaster site worker awareness. And so this is really great because you not only get the training and the certs, but you also get the curriculum and things to go with it. So, again, this is a extremely valuable resource from one of our, partners, if you will, that we work with. And that's why we let you know about these things. So again, that's the Greatest Institute, May 15th in Bettendorf, Iowa. And the connect for them is CCC-HST, or the Community College Consortium for Health Safety Training. So if you go to their website, you can find out more. And then reaching out to Puerto Rico. So we've heard a little bit from Angela and maybe more, but as all of you know, Fiona left devastation in its wake as it passed over Puerto Rico. And so we've reached out to one of the members of our community. This is part of our BJ2 training community, and that's our people in Pastone in Puerto Rico, to communicate our concern for their organization and their community. And so our intent is to assist in organizing a volunteer response from HMTRI BJT grantees to assist them. So again, they need help. Steve Fenton is now going through a practice run of what it's like to be at ground zero of a hurricane. He's where Ida's hitting Florida, so we'll be able to give you more of a direct, hey, here's what it's like. But again, we know that Puerto Rico has a lot of needs, and we don't know what we can do or if we can do, but we're happy to say that we've been able to be in touch with them, and we're happy to see you today. They were able to report that their people are safe, but not without numerous challenges that are rising from the storm. And so we're working with Pastone to determine if there are specific materials and supplies that would assist in the recovery of the program. So I know people want to send everything, but there's some things that might be more helpful than others and more urgently needed than others. And then are there specific materials or supplies that would assist in the recovery of their community? So we know that all of Puerto Rico is one community, and they have a localized community, but again, how can we help? And so really hearing from them on how we can help is going to be useful, and what's the best way, either as individuals or as organizations, to coordinate that relief effort with them and for them. So, who do we contact, where and how do, we send stuff, et cetera. So Pastone is working on that to get us, I think, more specific information. They're also doing their own assessments, and developing an action plan. So again, the idea is to be as useful as we can to them. And so I don't know, Angela, if there's anything else you wanted to add to that before I wrap this up.
Excuse me, Milady is spearheading that. And when I spoke with her in recent day, she said that you guys had reached out and they were ecstatic because they really appreciated that. And she plans to get back to you as soon as the assessment is complete. So maybe by the end of this week.
Right. So again, it's on your schedule. And, again, we just want to make sure that what we're doing is helpful and gets to you in the best way that it possibly can. So, as a result of the hurricane, as you've heard, many families have lost everything, and it includes their homes, their vehicles, clothing, food, appliances, beds. They need help for children who've lost their clothing and school supplies. They need help for seniors that depend on medical equipment and medications. They need help across the board. So again, we're just looking for what we can do in our way to help them as part of our family. And so we encourage all of you, as you can, to assist in the effort. So again, whether you do that individually or we do it collectively, we just want to make sure that we're reaching out. And we may have new people to add to the list as a result of tomorrow's weather, because we have programs in the path of that hurricane. So in the notes, we'll include a copy of the response from Pastone, from Milady Soto. And then if we have any contact information, if not, as we get that, we'll make that available to you. So
Milady suggested that there might be a post office that we could send things to. So when we find that address and any suggestions, forward it on to us, Angela and Milady, and we'll let everyone know. Here's someplace. She thought perhaps a post office would be the most secure place, but we'll find out in the coming days.
So again, our hearts are with you, and again, let us know, how you're doing and what you need. And but we're very glad to at least hear that your people are safe. That was our first concern. But then now, how can we help you? Is our second. So, and then for all of you, if you have a program that is impacted by external circumstance, either the program itself, your facilities, or your people, this is a community. So, share that with us. And again, we don't know if anything, if there's anything we can do, but, we're willing to try. And again, we want to make sure that we are supporting all of you as you continue in your efforts to support your communities through environmental job training. So thanks for that. And I'll turn it back over to Mike to.
Okay. We're going to talk to Diana about the workplace, and it's an interesting organization. They're located in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I don't want to take away from what she has to say. This is a very well-established organization, first formed in 1983 It's a statewide workforce program to help members of the state. Their first BJT grant was in 2001. So they've been around a long time, since 2001. They've had 7 grants, but that could be a little misleading because they were on a tear from 2001 to about 2014. And because of the recession or change of personnel, which we all have probably experienced at some point, they had a hiatus that actually lasted till 2021. So Diana has been given the privilege of reviving this program. I would expect perhaps starting from scratch to develop a BJT program. And I think that she probably is experiencing everyone a first-time grantee has experienced. So she's got a lot of challenges. We'd like to hear about them today. Bridgeport is an interesting place. It's about 1/3 white, 1/3 people of color, but it's got the 7th largest Hispanic population. So she's got lots of challenges. And I think with that, Diana, I'm going to turn it over to you and give us an idea of what it's like to start a program from scratch.
I start off by laughing. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diana Napier, and I'm with the Workplace in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I've been with the Workplace now about 15 years. In my role, I have twofold. I oversee our American Job Center here in Bridgeport, and I also oversee the EPA grant. And yes, we are in a restart, I should say. The Workplace is a nonprofit organization that helps people with their careers and also strengthen the workforce for employers. So first, I want to welcome my colleagues from Waterbury. Surprised to have you here. So it was a good surprise, and just want to welcome you on the call. The mission of the Workplace is to develop a well-educated, well-trained, and self-sufficient workforce that can compete in our changing global economy. The Workplace has been serving Southwestern Connecticut since 1983. And in most recent years, we have expanded to provide services in other states. We now provide services in New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Virginia. And these are a variety of different services. Some involve working as a one-stop operator, some involve our platform to employment program, and also our maturity CSEP, Maturity Works program. As the Workforce Development Board, we serve 20 towns in Southwestern Connecticut. And we operate the American Job Center, administering workforce development funds, coordinating job center, job training, education, and the providers that provide those programs. In addition, the Workplace have been recipient of numerous federal, state, and local competitive job training grants. And in terms of the EPA grant, yes, we started, our first grant was in 2001. And our last grant was during the 2014-2017 period. And looking back, our overall placement performance or rate was about 72%. Current grant is the one that I'm managing now. And yeah, I think restart is a really good way to say this. But I want to start with telling you a little bit about Bridgeport. Bridgeport is located about an hour from New York City. It's surrounded by affluent communities, communities with individuals with mostly higher educated individuals. When you hear my numbers, you will see where Bridgeport is primed, I think, for our efforts on environmental and also social justice. The city is the largest populated one in the state of Connecticut. We're about 148,000. The median income is 47,000, slightly over that, compared to 79 for the state of Connecticut as a whole. The per capita income in the past 12 months is about 24,000 compared to 45,000 for the state as a whole. The poverty rate is about 19%. In terms of education, 76% of those over age 25 have at least a high school diploma compared to the state's almost 91% as a whole. And 70% of the residents over age 25 have a bachelor's degree or higher compared to 40% for the state as a whole. So you can see the potential challenges that we have in Bridgeport. We have a high number, and one of my personal challenges as I recruit for this grant is individuals who don't have a high school diploma. Through our many programs, the workplace is experiencing working with various populations and various ones that have barriers to employment. We have a youth build program, so we're serving young adults who many do not have a high school diploma. We have a pretty big reentry program. So we are servicing individuals who are returning citizens. We have a statewide program for that. We have a veterans program where we support homeless veterans. And we also have a maturity works program where we serve individuals over age 55 and older. In terms of our relationship with employers, that is one of my major concerns at this point. That is one of my major rebuilding efforts. When we had operated prior grants or managed prior grants, we had a very strong connection with employers, and we are rebuilding that. This is primarily due to the gap in time and also some of the pandemic issues. We're still working through those to re-engage and build relationships. I am encouraged, however, because I've had positive receptions from the employers who I have contacted so far. We're also working to address that issue with a number of community organizations. I am working with our Metropolitan Council of Government that covers our area. In Bridgeport, they are in our region. They are the ones that actually oversee the brownfield sites and funding for development and so that is a good connection that I've have so far. The city of Bridgeport itself, and Bridgeport has neighborhood revitalization boards who look out for the interests of their citizens primarily, and so beginning to meet those and get involved with them. So from those angles I am, more encouraged than I was maybe 6 months ago. For training, our goal is to train 60 participants with a 76% placement rate. And our core training, this is another area that is somewhat of a concern. We are working through it. In our prior programs, we had a company that was kind of maybe the #1 program in our region that provided this training. They were equipped to provide, you name it, just like Pamela just named. It was a similar situation. All the OSHA training, all the lead training, asbestos, building analyst, everything. And unfortunately, they're no longer in existence due to retirement and the pandemic. And my challenge is to find similar trainers in Connecticut. So what we are doing at the workplace is we are doing some of that training in-house. So we've scaled down the training a bit to offer the HAZWOPER, OSHA 30, also OSHA 10 as an option, first aid, forklift. And so participants will get that in the beginning. because we're a workforce development board, we're also going to encourage participation in our RIOA program, whereby individuals who have completed this, what we call our first core, will have options to do additional training, such as CDL, driving, and so forth. We will also add some job readiness piece, personal goal setting, communication, understanding what employers are looking for, resume writing, job search, and preparation for interview, the whole gamut to individuals. How we can do that most effectively is for most of our programs, we're hoping to co-enroll participants. And by co-enrolling, it helps us to provide those career job preparation services. For those who are not co-enrolled, we'll be utilizing the services of the American Job Center to assist those participants. Okay. In terms of my recruiting, well, number one, right now, we are getting ready to start our training. Finally, we have some youth build participants that are being co-enrolled. We also have some community individuals who will be new to our organizations that are very excited about the program. So I anticipate that this coming month in October, we'll be able to start some of the training that we have. And how I recruit other than through our own programs here at the workplace and through the job center is really community outreach, boots on the ground, spreading the word. And we also have an opportunity on our website for individuals who have been impacted by COVID to send a survey of interest. And that has been very helpful in getting people to respond. And so I'm beginning to hold information sessions on the program at this point. So I feel the momentum building. And the way I recruit is and screen is primarily they have to attend an information session. And I do one-on-one interviews. And for those who haven't done like an interest survey, I do have them do one through the ONET interest profiler, just to get them to think seriously about the type of training that they are looking at. Because what I'm finding is that individuals hear the name, they get excited, but they really don't know what they're being prepared for. And some may come in and they really don't have a goal, And so we try to get them to have that established ahead of time. So the interviews are very important. We inform the candidates of the requirements, the physicality of positions, the educational requirements. And even though we don't drug test, we do let them know the importance that, well, not the importance, but really that some employers will do drug testing, and they need to be prepared for that. Our eligibility requirements are a little, it's not impacted 100% on everyone, only because we do co-enroll. So they must be a Bridgeport resident. So that's primary. Everyone has to be that, and be at least 18 years of age. They must also be authorized to work in the US. In terms of a high school diploma though, we will accept, for example, we have some youth build candidates. Most of them already have their high school diploma. We have some that are still working on it. So we worked with them alongside the environmental program. And I work with their case manager to make sure they're on track to, get their diploma. So we don't, we serve whoever we can with this program. Okay. The other challenge in our eligibility is that we look for individuals with a valid driver's license. And in some cases, we don't have that. I'm finding that is a challenge I'm running up against. So that's something I have to address, how to move forward with it. I have a couple people that I know are in without a driver's license, but most people do have one. So you can see, being in Bridgeport, the age we're attracting, the socioeconomic situation here, there are some challenges, but I'm looking to overcome those challenges. We do have leverage services. One is the WIOA funding that we can use to enroll participants and give them additional training and additional supports. By co-enrolling in other programs that the workplace have, we're able to assist with other supports, such as some of our programs may have a hybrid presentation where we do some online and some in person, or a combination. So for individuals who don't have a computer or access to one, we can get them a Chromebook so that they can attend classes online. And as such, we could also help with transportation. I know the grant does help with that, but we can have additional resources of transportation, such as Uber, what have you, that individuals may need. Right now in Connecticut, there's no cost for public bus transportation. So I have a couple more months that we can use that as well. So advice and issues. I'll be repeating some of what I said. The scarcity of the training provider was a really big deal for me. We're not able to offer the full, we wanted to offer asbestos training, lead training, all the real, about 10 different certifications. And so we had to scale back because we don't have the provider to do those trainings. So I'm still looking for it. One of my planned solution for that is, of course, to use WIOA funds to offer whatever training we can add to our core, and also to work with the local labor union. They offer training, and so I'll be talking with them about maybe some of their pre-apprenticeship type programs to add to what we can offer. The other barriers that I mentioned is I'll be talking with 5 people in a day, and out of those 5, I could come across 3 that do not have a high school diploma. So what do? Do I tell them, no, you can't, or do I try to find solutions? I think my charge is to try to find solutions for them. So working now, and hopefully able to work something out with our own job center and through adult ed to at least get them back on track. Some started and some just left high school and haven't been back. So whatever I can do to at least point them in the right direction, I think is my charge. And it's what I intend on helping for those who we wouldn't normally have in the program. And if they agree to go along and see how we can help them, then of course, yes, I would have them join our program. I don't really want to leave people behind, but I also know the importance of having individuals who can be successful in the program. So if there's any challenge, those are my challenges. Okay, so I'll take any questions.
Very interesting. There were some, I think, some issues that are pretty important here. You did a great job, Diane, and particularly a question that comes up. If I'm not happy with my cohort, or I'm not happy with my courses, can I put off training for a while? Do I have to do it come hell or high water? And the answer is no, you don't have to. You do what you did. You regroup, You may need to talk to your regional coordinator, explain, well, we're scaling back a little bit, we're delaying our cohort, we're having these issues. That's fine.
Yeah, he's aware. Yeah.
It's much better to delay a cohort or change your curriculum than to put on something you're not happy with. I commend you for doing that, and other grantees may have had this situation in the past. The other interesting thing, and there may be, there'll probably be other questions. I don't know if we could show a hands of how many people accept people that do not have high school diplomas. Do you? Okay. Paul, you take, okay, so you've got company. You've got company. It's not a requirement, right? You can encourage them to get a GED. It certainly helps in terms of getting a job. Any of you have comments on that, Paul? You have comment on that?
Yeah, we probably have a quarter to a third. Sometimes it's up to half, depending on our population, that don't have their high school diploma. So we have an in-house HSC, and we have a relationship with Warren Township, and they get, they're on the clock since we have a social enterprise, all the training, all the wraparound services, all the certifications, schooling is done while they're on the clock also. So that's, sometimes they don't have to juggle. Do they want their education or to put food on the table? We just happen to have some of those things to lessen the amount of challenges and obstacles that they have.
Great, yeah. And that's the way I look at it. You know, you come across individuals who are dealing with various barriers, and you know, we're fortunate to be in the positions that we are, and I think it's important that we try to help individuals who are facing those barriers.
The nice thing that you have, Diana, is you are a WIB, and you have access to co-enrolling people, perhaps in GED programs or other social service programs, which many on the call do, and some don't, and that puts them in a precarious situation.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have trouble finding technical trainers at all? Have any of you experienced that, where you've had difficulty finding a trainer that you're happy with? It's usually there's a local consultant you could find if you're fortunate. There's a certain amount of luck there. You don't want to have someone who's going to have to travel long
Our
distances.
trainers have come through the program itself.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
So they and they also each of them have, there's three people, and they have a lot of construction experience also, and all their credentials, but we met up at the training center itself, and they're just terrific.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm finding is there are some that are now beginning to open up. When we first started our planning, because of the pandemic, many has shut down. And when they opened, they were only doing refresher courses. So it's still a challenge to, you know, for example, the OSHA 40 class, we're doing that in-house. We are fortunate that our youth bill instructor could gain certification to do that program. And he has the language, the understanding to deliver that kind of training. So that's what helped us to make the decision to do some of this training in-house. But yeah.
Yep, yeah.
Something I wanted to share, not for all of our trainings, but for some, the Beyond Literacy is like the largest GED provider in Philly. And we partner with them, and the cohorts get both sides of the training at ECA. They get, I think it's in the morning, they're getting GED, and in the afternoon, they're getting the EPA trainings and the other GRR that Russell mentioned, and the other trainings. And that's really nice for people
Mhm.
because they're in one place. And also the instructors, they can talk to each other so that they're trying to do contextualized learning in terms of the reading material and all. That's a way we really like to work. They're a
It's a
great
great
partner.
idea, kind of like the IVEX program. That's a real thing.
I think as your program matures and you're starting from scratch and it will be maturing, word will get out and you may have, and this is another thing, there's nothing wrong with growing your program as you proceed. So you may, people may be approaching you and saying, well, we could do this or do that and help you out. So it may grow organically. And so it sounds like you're on the right path. Yeah, doing a good job.
Thanks.
Any other questions of what they're doing in Bridgeport? It's an interesting combination of combining the WIB, definite advantages, being able to use it for placement and recruitment and all the ancillary services. As I said, we're a very diverse population. I am not going to spend a lot of time. In fact, we'll do it another time. Yes.
I'm sorry, I have one question for Bridgeport. Given your Hispanic population, how much of your training and or information is bilingual?
Not much, to be honest with you. That's one thing that we have not conquered yet. However, our instructor is bilingual.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is an issue that everyone's facing, you know, that and we'll be hearing more about this with the EJ. And I'm just going to take a minute or two. Last Saturday, Michael Regan, the administrator of EPA, announced at Warren County, which is just up the road from where I live, this was a underserved community that back in 1982, some less desirable people that were working on road crews would just open their tanks and spill PCBs all over the roads of North Carolina. And but they found, I don't know if they ever tracked them down. They had PCB contaminated roads all over North Carolina. They scraped these roads clean. They had to find a place to dump them. So where do you dump them? Warren County, an underserved population, did not have political power. And they started creating a 22-acre Haz waste site back in '82, which was not like Haz waste sites now with all kinds of safety measures. They didn't count on local activists saying, wait a second, you're not going to do this in our hometown. And there was a lady, and this will all be in the notes, but she said, wait, you can't do this. We got groundwater pollution. We got all these problems. And they protested. They were arrested. They had sit-ins. They did everything they could. Sadly, they didn't get their way. They ended up turning this into a hazardous waste site. And it's a sad story, but it did lead to the birthplace. And they're considering this as almost like the Greensboro sit-ins or the Nashville sit-ins. This was the beginning of environmental justice in this country. It took till about 1987 where there were studies done on toxic waste and race in America. And this started to open up this whole thing. And so we're going back to '87. This has been percolating in the agency for a long time. And there was an Office of Environmental Justice in EPA, but understaffed, no budget, no grants, until this current president came in and has changed the complexion completely on environmental justice, equity, climate change, and almost to the point of a huge influx of interest and resources across the agency. And you're going to hear a lot about EJ, you're going to hear a lot about equity. And the question is, and we'll be discussing this more later, how does this affect us? There's actually been 3 bills passed in Congress. The American Rescue Plan was the first one. That was in '21. And that allowed for some small EJ grants and some assistance on air and water. And then the bill, the bipartisan infrastructure bill. It's called the Infrastructure Investment Act. They like to call it the bipartisan infrastructure bill. That's where our job trainers are getting their money from. That's about $1.5 billion for brownfields projects. We're going to be hearing more about that next week. There's money being poured into it. You know, our budgets for our grantees went from 3 million to maybe four times that. We're not sure how much more is going to be coming down the pike, but it's going to be coming. Dave will be talking about the bipartisan infrastructure bill on the 14th. It's a big deal, and you're going to hear a lot about that. The next thing you're going to hear about, which doesn't affect us as much, is the Inflation Reduction Act. That's the third act. That is a huge act, but it's oriented towards the Office of Environmental Justice. The Office of Environmental Justice went from no budget, no personnel, to now $100 million budget. I mean, this has happened within weeks of the passage of that act. And there will be a lot of talk about this. They're going to be establishing hubs all across the country. In fact, in the notes, you'll see there's an RFA out for thriving community technology assistance centers in every region. And they're going to be, right now, they're setting up this huge infrastructure, hopefully so that they can send grants out to small communities. And we know we do know the problem with these grants is they're very complicated. They're hard to apply for, and you've got to jump through a lot of hoops. So the question is how can the government streamline this? And this is where you may come in. You may, in coming months, as these grantees start developing programs, they're going to be looking out and reaching out to communities, small communities, and saying, how can we develop EJ grants in our community? They might not necessarily be brownfields job training grants, but they may be similar to what you're doing. They may be ancillary and they may be synergistic. So we just need to be aware that they're out there. We'll be talking about that in the future, and I'll put some things in the notes about these. The bill, BIL, is the one you'll hear most about, the brownfields and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, which is bringing money directly to brownfields and to the job training program. And I anticipate there's going to be more money coming in rather than less. And it's a 5-year program. So for the next 5 years, I think we're going to see more emphasis on that. And how those grants are going to look, we're not sure. We've been trying to influence EPA on how those grants should look. And I think we made our point very, very clear. We have not gotten a raise in 20 years. Essentially $100 million, a million a year is not enough to run one of these programs, in our opinion. So we've been pushing for more money. They went, unfortunately, in a different direction. They went 5 years for $5 million, which really didn't give us a big raise at all per year. We're really pushing hard to more money. If you want to do a 5-year grant, that's okay, because it gives you stability, ability to hire staff. But I think it's important we make our opinion known that grantees feel they probably need more money to operate these programs. And we're going to continue to express that opinion to EPA regarding future RFAs. They do not know what their next RFA in 24 is going to look like. It's going to come out in June. So it'll be coming up fast. We don't know, and I don't know that they know, but they certainly know how we feel about what the level of funding should be. So we're going to continue on that path. I'm not sure if any of you had thoughts about that, but we're certainly interested in expressing. They often ask our opinion of what grantees are thinking about different things, and we certainly express that. So let us know, either in returning your comments into notes or at one of these PLCs. We'll certainly pass those comments on. So Any other questions? I apologize for taking more of your day than we had intended to, but it's always nice to see everyone again. Now, remember, 2 weeks from now, don't come here. We're going to have it's a separate login, and all of you hopefully are registered. If you're not, go to one of those notes, click on the link, and register. We're going to be sending out another tranche of registrations if you haven't registered yet, and you'll be getting a note from our web guy that how to link in to the refresher course on the 12th of October. Any other questions anyone might have? Is that you, Nolan, or you?
Yeah, that's me. I got one kind of program note, just an asterisk. We are able to provide feedback to the agency in terms of what your needs are, what your opinions are, et cetera. We're not able to lobby the agency because we're actually a fund. We receive funds from the agency. So just to be clear, we don't lobby directly saying we want more money or we want this or that, but we can give them feedback on how processes are working or not working for different recipients. So I just want to make sure we're not crossing that lobbying line in anybody's mind.
Well, and actually, Dave will be on the refresher, and he'll probably ask if anyone has any questions, and that's a good opportunity to hear from you, in addition to what they're hearing from us.
Yeah, I agree. I just saying that HMTRI cannot go back and lobby EPA. So just to make sure that we're staying clear of that. My wife's an attorney, and I've been in this federal world for about 25 years, and so I just want to. I tend to be really sensitive to those things.
Right.
So.
But we can certainly, when they have questions, we can ask them if there will be an increase in the annual allotment going to.
Sure, and we can give them feedback on here's what we're hearing from our grantees. But again, I just want to make sure
like,
that people don't feel like we're a lobbying group, because we're not.
No, but it's not like they've never heard this before. They've heard these before. Ebony, do you have a question? Ebony Davis, you had your hand up. Oh no, that was me. Okay, I thought you had your hand up. That was just my cursor. Any other issues today? We're going to see you in after the refresher. Our next PLC will actually be the 26th of October. So we'll see you all then.
And we'll keep in touch with our friends from Pat Stone and let you know what people can do. And so
we'll pass on any address that we can get in terms of sending help. Thanks for attending.
Yeah.
Nolan,
stay safe, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nolan,
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Oops. I'll stay on a minute, Mike, after everybody's done.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I was going to just share with you real quick, and I got to kind of keep this quiet because it hasn't been implemented, but on October 1st, we're bringing our pay rate. We're currently at $11 an hour, and we're bringing that up to 15.
Nice.
So that will be the starting rate. And then for those that have additional responsibilities, it'll be on top of that. So we're really happy to get more towards living wage rate. And I know with as high as inflation is, it's going to probably be eaten up, but at least we have an opportunity to pay our participants more money now. And that's
well,
that's
not
great.
not only that is your students are getting paid while they're training, and many of the programs, they have to give up, 8 weeks of sustenance, so.
Yeah, we just feel very fortunate to be able to do that, because we know not everyone can, but we're just been blessed, fortunate enough to be in a position to be able to do that. So
fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Have a good one, you guys.
Okay, take care now.
Thanks.
Hi, Rita. How are you? Whoops. Did you leave? No. Hi, Rita. How are you?
She's on mute.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, it's just a awkward line, but if when it goes back to the agencies that grantee that it feels like we're lobbying, then it
Oh,
gets ugly
absolutely not.
quickly.
Oh, yeah,
And so I just wanted to
absolutely. Well, we
bring
don't
that
want to
up.
do
And
that,
so,
right?
yeah.
So
And
definitely.
we're clean on what we do, but like I said, sometimes that can be misconstrued as that we're.
Oh, sure. Sure.
So you okay? Sorry, it took me so long to get on, but I kept pulling
We're
in the
good.
parking lot trying to get a signal and I could not get a
I started pulling out my
Yeah,
notes. I
signal,
wasn't
yeah,
sure
yeah.
how things are going to go. But they went fine. You know, I personally feel it's good to introduce everyone. So that took a little longer
Yeah.
than I planned.
Now
But
it's fine. That was perfect because, like I said, I was getting kind of desperate here, and then finally I just
now
pulled
you're
in
going to
front of
have
a business.
you're going to have one heck of a cell phone bill, right?
I don't
Or
know.
is it?
Yeah. Well, but I just ran into the business. Said, "Do you guys have internet? Can I get on it?" And I go, "Okay, yeah." They were a little nervous, and I said, "Well, I'll work out of my car. I just need."
Oh, good for you. Good for you. So you got
So
it
like I
worked
said,
out.
so shout out to Verizon in Athens, Georgia. So,
There you go. Okay. Well, I
Okay.
sent the thing. You probably got that email. I sent it to Josh about the new agenda, the revised agenda.
Yeah, I haven't been able to look at anything.
Okay.
I've been on driving, so
Okay.
I'll be able to see it tonight when I
Any,
get to
okay.
where I'm going.
Okay. Anything you
And
want
then
to do in revising the notes, let me know. And
okay, and I saw the message from Steve. That they were getting to
right.
ground zero or whatever. And so, yeah.
He's probably without power right now. So
Well, I think that the storm came south, but then it headed back north a little bit. So hopefully they're a little bit off center.
Oh.
I think it's going to pass just a tad north of them, but it's still they're in it. They're in the middle of it. So it's.
Right. I was happy to see Angela there. That was great. It was great. Okay. Well, we'll close this out and.
All right. So I'll get to where I'm going later this evening, and I'll look over the notes again. And if you don't hear from me, then it's just
just let it roll. Sounds good.
And I think now your usual process was you would share the notes with Steve, and then
this is the way I do it. I write the notes. I send them to Steve. He basically just gives them the sign of the cross, so to speak. He does. And then he passes them on to Karen. What Karen does is she just turns them into a PDF. Really, there's not content changes. Very rarely.
So what I think we discussed at the last exec team meeting was that Josh would like to see that go through us. So I guess you hand them to Steve. Steve hands them to me. The three of us sign off, and then it skips. I guess it skips Karen now, and then goes directly to Eric. Or I don't know.
Yeah. So your job basically would be turned into a PDF because Eric posts them as PDFs.
Okay, so I'll do all the grammar check and
just look it over, misspell words, and then just make a PDF out of the whole thing. Try to see if the alignments are pretty close. And go on.
Send it to Eric. Okay.
Okay, we'll see y'all. Rita,
all right.
Rita's not there. Okay, I was gonna say hello, but I think she's occupied.
Buddy, how you doing?
Yeah, Buddy is maybe on the phone. I saw him on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to y'all later. I'm going to end this conversation. Okay.
Okay.
Have a good day.
I'm going to go driving again.
Okay. See you.
Take care.